Welcome to episode 33 of the Whatnauts Review Show, where each week we pick a story and we talk about it. It could be a movie, TV series, anime, manga, comic book, audio show, all sorts of entertainment.
Exactly.
I tried to say kinds and sorts at the same time.
All courts.
All courts.
All courts of stories.
We will watch it, we will read it, we will listen to it, and then we will come here and discuss it. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I am joined, as always, by my co-captain, Kyle Springer. How are you today, Kyle?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. Last night, I went to a play that was an immersive production of Macbeth, where we all parked somewhere, and then a school bus came and picked us up, and it took us to an old Catholic church that had been turned into a skate park that had been turned into the set for Macbeth.
I was going to say, that sounds about accurate for Macbeth. Like, skate
yeah,
park.
You know. Catholic skate park, the classic Scottish Highland castle aesthetic.
It's not Shakespeare in the park, it's Shakespeare in the skate park.
Yes, it is. And it's an immersive production, so you're just, like, walking around, and, like, the cast is, like, walking around in between you, and you're just, like, in it. And they'll, like, grab your shoulders and, like, look into your eyes, and they'll, like, wave the knife towards you, so you gotta watch out for, like, the fake blood splatter.
That's
it was
awesome.
really cool.
Sounds fun. I did nothing of the sort this weekend. Yesterday I cleaned up most of the day, but that's really boring.
Productive, though. I wish I had time to clean.
One day you'll get there.
The dream.
Sounds good. What are we talking about this week?
This week we are talking about something that was brand new to both of us. I just went out there and Googled best workplace anime, and I found this. And it is called Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. This is a 2018 anime series by a studio called A1 Pictures, who I'm not familiar with, but I imagine Otaku may be familiar with, so I thought I would mention it.
I feel like I've heard of them recently. I know they do a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Keep talking and I will look them up.
Yeah.
And see what they've done here.
Yep, this is a really recent show. This just came out. This finished in June. So I think this might be like one of the quickest turns arounds we've had. Well, no, we watched Dragon Prince like immediately after it was out, but
that's true.
Yeah, normally we're not that timely about stuff, so it was kind of neat to see something fresh from this year where they're referencing like the Nintendo Switch and Splatoon and stuff like that.
And Pokemon Go.
Yeah. And
stuff like that.
The synopsis of the show is that there is this woman named Narumi who has had every boyfriend she's ever had dump her because they found out she was an otaku. Particularly, she's a giant yaoi otaku, and she draws boys love comics.
Yep.
And so she used to change jobs. Like, she was dating a guy at her old company, and then they broke up, and she's like, I can't be here anymore, so she goes to a new company. And when she's there, she runs into an old, like, childhood school friend of hers. This is Hirotaka. And he's a giant nerd also. He's a video gamer. And so he knows her secret. And she's like, you can't tell anyone I'm a huge otaku. And he's like, okay, I won't tell anyone, but
it's not a big deal, but sure.
Like, if you're worried about, like, not being able to find a boyfriend, you could just date me. Like, I already know your secret, and I still like you. So it's about their relationship, and also their two superiors at work are also giant otaku who are dating each other, and it's just about love and nerddom.
Yes. Exactly. It's a pretty funny show. I did look up A1 Pictures anime, and apparently some of the other stuff they have done is actually very popular stuff. Sword Art Online, Fairy Tale, Black Butler, Your Lie in April, Blue Exorcist. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
I've heard of all of those, and I don't know that many anime, so they must be huge.
Yes, so very well-known studio. Exactly. But yeah, this is a good, obviously it's a rom-com type of thing. It's very light-hearted, and just kind of about the I'm looking for the right word. I was about to say intricacies, but I don't know if that's the right word because it's not necessarily intricate.
Yeah.
But just all the ins and outs of the anxieties and the worries of someone who is a complete dork might go through when trying to find love.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyle, I know this isn't, like, you're not a rom-com person like I am. What did you think about this show? Like, what are your general impressions?
Yeah, not necessarily for me. It was pretty funny though. I'm definitely more into very like character heavy stories. And well, I think this hints at that because it is about the nature of their relationships and what they're worried about and stuff like that. I felt like this kind of played it safe and only told us like the surface level stuff.
Yeah.
And just kind of moved on to their next, not skit, but just like, hey, let's worry about this nerd likes one thing and that nerd likes another thing. Are they compatible because they like different things? And then the next one is like, well, now they have friends who like even more different things. How do they deal with that? And like some of that stuff, because they got into like social anxiety and not wanting to like talk to people in real life, or feeling like what you like is more taboo, or stuff like that. And that can actually be a fairly reasonable concern of just like, hey, I hope this person likes what I like or likes my interests or doesn't hate me because I like this stuff, or think I'm weird or stupid, or but yeah, to me, I think it was overall really good. It was really fun to watch, but it was fairly surfacey for the most part.
Yeah, it's real light, fluffy slice of life sort of stuff. Not like there isn't like well-rounded characters, it's just that they don't go deep. Like there's not really that much of an arc from the beginning to the end, except for like within the relationships themselves.
So I know it's been out long enough that I probably could spoil it. I'm not what we're talking about here. But have you seen the most recent Thor movie, Thor 3?
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it, but a lot of people absolutely love that movie, and they think it's the best Marvel one. I don't think it's the best. I think it's really fantastic, but one of the problems I had with that movie is they had these really, like, emotional moments that were then interrupted by these, like, jokes and stuff like that, and it just felt like it was it was an inappropriate time to tell that joke. Like if you had just waited 30 seconds, to let me get that emotional beat, or vice versa too. They told a fantastic joke, but then immediately after they're trying to get me into some kind of emotional state, and it's just like I'm still laughing. Like hold on, let me
slow down.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I felt like this one was, not to the same extent, but they did have those emotional moments in there, in those like smaller character moments, but then it just kind of got swept away very quickly, and vice versa. So
I think, not to spend too much time on this, like before we've even gotten into our like housekeeping and spoiler break, but I think it really worked for me, like the way they balanced everything. First of all, I was expecting like a rom-com, but this was more calm than rom even. Like this is a really funny show, like more than I was expecting.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet if you're into comics or video games or whatever, even in the slightest, this might be something you would want to check out just because of how funny it is.
Yeah.
There is some romance stuff in there, but it's not heavy-handed.
Yeah.
You know.
And I kind of liked how much joking there was, because that is what you will do with a boyfriend or girlfriend or like a new friend you are making in your social circle. Like, you'll have these tender moments and then you'll find something to like laugh about. Like,
what audience do you think this is for? Like, what age range?
Me? The audience is me? Like, the main character...
You specifically, Melissa.
The main character is a 26-year-old office woman, and I am a 28-year-old office woman, so yes, I think, like, mid-20s to, like, 30s age, just folks out there that have gotten enough experience in life under their belt that they have lived and grown, and they don't have a lot of confidence, but they feel like if they were in the right circumstance, they could have confidence. This is very specific. This isn't like the Nielsen breakdown of 18 to 25-year-old middle-class males.
Let's psychoanalyze Melissa here and why she picked this show. I guess I'm the one that picked this show. So what does that say about me?
Yeah, I would suggest this to, I think, a lot of different ages. Like, it's not that heavy on, like, the work stuff, so if you're, like, a teen and you've never been in an office, like, it's fine for you. Like,
I would go younger and say, like, more teenage stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause that's very much the age you're figuring out what you like and what you don't like, and it's very much the time, hey, is it cool to like this? Is it okay if I like this? What will other people think of me? And, here's these people that are just slightly older than that, dealing with all of that and realizing, hey, it's perfectly fine to like whatever you like. That's A-okay. You don't need to hide that, You don't need to think you're strange because you like gay romance novels or video games, and that's all you do, or you don't like talking and interacting with people, So that's fine.
Yeah, I think it is a good show for, like, younger people, and also, like, the people up through, like, your mid-30s, where, like, maybe you're still just trying to figure out dating and trying to figure out, like, like, is there a person out there for me? Maybe there is. Okay. But I think we've done enough about this show up top, and it's time for a little housekeeping break.
Yes, housekeeping. Let me pull up housekeeping. First and foremost, go follow us on YouTube and Twitch. We could absolutely use your guys' help. I think we've just reached 30 subscribers on YouTube.
Hooray!
Which is a very small and humble amount. So thank you guys for that. We're hoping to reach 50 though. So go spread the word, please. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please go do so. Twitch, we are shortly behind that. We're, I think, low to mid 20s on Twitch. So you guys can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ the Whatnauts. My mind just completely blanked there. Or you can watch on our website at thewhatnauts.com/live streams. iTunes reviews also help as well. And we just recorded a new episode of the Captain's Log a couple days ago. So by the time this goes live to the public, that episode of the Captain's Log will also be live. You can search for the Whatnauts podcast on iTunes or whatever, and it will pop up as well. But Melissa, you got to join us.
We had a fun conversation.
Episode. Yeah, we talked about everything from comic conventions to this ethereal department store that you went to, and our favorite cuss words. So that was good. Go check that out. It's one of the other podcasts that we do here at the Whatnauts, and that was a lot of fun. But that's housekeeping. If you had to recommend something else to someone, what might you recommend? If they liked this thing, what else might they like? Is there another rom-com that you know of that might be along the same lines?
Oh, I'm having trouble thinking of something. I think because I just liked this so much. Like, I was so engaged with this, and I related to it so much. Like, if you like this, you might also try Melissa, the woman. I didn't. And I think the only other, like, rom-com anime I've seen, because I'm still catching up on animes from when I was, like, a teenager. And I was mostly watching, like, what's on Toonami? What's on Adult Swim? The last anime I caught up with before this was, the club one. Or on High School Host Club. Yes.
Okay.
Which is a very different type of rom-com. It's more of, like, the harem style. It doesn't have that kind of, like, nerdy social focus of the show, but that one's also very cute.
Okay. Yeah. It's also a hard one for me to recommend ones. I guess the one that kind of comes to mind is one we actually did an episode on, which is the Kids on the Slope.
Yes.
Which is not so much about being nerdy, isn't really a rom-com per se, but there is a little bit of romance, there is a little bit of comedy. It's about good friendship. But I think if you liked this show, you might also be interested in that to an extent.
And I don't have another recommendation, but I do, before we hit the spoiler break, there's something I have to bring up because I never thought I would have an instance to talk about this thing. This is one of my favorite little tidbits about, like, weird modern Japanese culture, and I'm so excited I get to share it. Have you heard about the party barrel?
The party barrel?
Okay. All right.
No.
So there's an episode of the show that takes place around Christmas time, and I think we see, like, one of the characters, like, having, like, this chicken and salad and cake dinner.
Yeah.
Which is what a party barrel is. Okay. So since Western culture started coming over to Japan throughout the 20th century, and, like, they kind of took on Christmas as a holiday over there, not for, like, so much the religious reasons, mostly just because it's fun. And it gets associated with a lot of other Western culture. And the big meal for Japanese Christmas is KFC. KFC is big over in Japan.
Okay, and now I think I know what you mean by party bucket.
Yes, no, they call it a party barrel. It's not a bucket, it's a barrel, Kyle. And the party barrel is the specific Japanese KFC meal package that is a bucket of fried chicken, like a big salad, and this little, like, 10-inch around, like, frosted chocolate cake. That's the party barrel. And this is such a big deal. Like, that is the family tradition over there. So you have to have a party barrel, or it's not really Christmas time. So people will get on the waiting list for a party barrel at KFC 2 months in advance. And they are, like, camped outside of the KFC on, like, Christmas Eve at, like, 8 in the morning. Like, I have to bring the party barrel home to my family. So
Jesus died for the party barrel.
He was born for the party barrel.
Exactly.
So I don't have, like, another show to recommend so much as just please go look up the party barrel, because it's one of the things out there on Earth that makes me the happiest.
Go get you some KFC this holiday season.
Yes, get your own.
They are not a sponsor.
No. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way so that even if you haven't watched the show, you know about the party barrel now, because I'd love to pass that knowledge on to others.
There you go. Now that you know about the party barrel, let's get into some spoilers and stuff, though. Let's start diving in and talking about this a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
Melissa, where do you want to start?
Ooh. I am interested in your view on this as a gamer, because I'm a nerd for a lot of things, but gaming isn't one of them. So I'm curious what you thought about that aspect of it.
So for me, this show was really interesting because I probably, most likely, definitely could be described as an otaku. I'm a huge comic book nerd. I'm a video gamer. I basically work and then come home and lay in my bed and watch TV and read comics and do all of that stuff. But I've also never, like, I don't really have social anxiety. I've never really felt like a loner or weird because I like this stuff. I've always been very confident and be like, hey, this is me. This is what I like, and I don't really care. And so it's weird to me to see a lot of this stuff and be like, yes, I know it and I understand it. Also, that's not me though. Because I mean, just this whole idea of being a nerd, even here in America, like, that used to be a bad thing, right? That absolutely used to be something you wanted to, like, I hope no one finds out that I play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm gonna get stuffed in a locker, you know? And I, like, that's now not the case, and it's almost weird if you don't like that stuff. If you haven't seen Star Wars, if you haven't seen all the Marvel movies, or at least read some of the comics, you know, to find out more information. Yeah, I mean, the tables have almost turned. And at the same time, there is still a little bit of that taboo. Like, there's the mainstream acceptability, but then there's, like, me, who, like, I have 5 full long boxes of single issues of comics. I'm, like, about a third of my way in a 6th one. I have a bookshelf that is literally all graphic novels. I have my Street Sharks action figures on another bookshelf right next to Batman, the animated series DVDs.
Yeah.
There's still stuff that I know about and talk about regularly that, like, that mainstream level of what is now, like, acceptable nerd still doesn't know about, or, like, would be like, what a fucking dork. Kyle, no one likes you. Go away.
Yeah, and, like,
but guys, they're these kids that got turned into sharks. Street sharks.
Wait a minute, those kids got turned into sharks? I thought they were just always sharks. I barely remember this from when I was a kid.
This was like when it was popular to do knockoffs of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Those sharks looked like adults to me, like, as near as I could tell. I'm like, that's not a juvenile shark. That is an adult shark. See, look, he looks like he's, like, 32 years old.
Yeah, they were, like, teenage brothers that all got turned into these sharks, and they had to fight Dr. Piranha.
Dr. Piranha.
Amazing. But yeah, like, it's so weird to see how, like, where it is in America now. And when I think of Japan, like, I mean, maybe I'm stereotyping them and I'm talking out of my ass because I'm pasty McPale white guy and who's never been to Japan. But I imagine their culture is so much more steeped in all of this. That's why manga and anime are such a big thing in their culture. We have that Hollywood studio, like, movies system, but they don't have the space for that.
Yeah.
Which is why animation has picked up, right? Because you don't need all of that space to make a fantasy story. You know, you don't need you don't need to actually pay for all those pyrotechnics to make big explosions. You can just have someone draw it, and they can sit at a desk, and you know, and they can still do all of that stuff. So there's a line in there where she's questioning, like, sorry, I'm going on.
No, it's fine.
On a big rant here. But there's a line in there where she's kind of questioning, like, maybe I should give up being an otaku and just be a normal person and watch normal anime and read normal manga. Like,
yes.
It was just like, but you're still doing the same thing. You're still watching anime and reading manga. Like, it's not. It's like, for them, it's more so about the genres and what's in the story, and that's what makes you an otaku, or I guess even, like, how you act about it.
Yeah.
Right? Because, again, they do have so much more anime or manga. It is so much more mainstream and in their culture that's like I could go home and watch like Family Guy or Brooklyn Nine-Nine or you know something, and that's considered like normal TV shows, right? Whereas if I go home and I watch if I watch Dragon Ball Z, people are gonna be like, "You dork! Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?" Like, but guys, they need to find the Dragon Balls. Come on!
If they get all 7 of them, they can bring Goku back to life again.
And maybe if they just leave Yamcha out, he won't die. But yeah, I mean, like it's so strange for me to see that. But that doesn't necessarily answer your question per se. I went on this big like 5-minute long rant and just completely ignored your question. No, I mean I'm not a like multiplayer online video gamer. I like single player stories and stuff like that. So I guess in that sense, it like that does kind of close me off in the sense like I'm gonna go home and play a single video game and not talk to anyone and not sleep or eat for an entire weekend, and I'm just gonna beat Assassin's Creed. Or I'm just gonna do something like that. So that scene where she walks in on him and he's like passed out because he hasn't eaten or slept. It's like I've kind of done that.
One thing I was wondering was that so that game they keep playing, I can tell
the monsters.
Sort of, yeah. We're like
the big dragon, and he's fighting that one. Yeah, Monster Hunter.
Okay, because I could tell, like, okay, this fits within what I know about Japanese RPGs, but I can't tell if this is supposed to be a specific parody of something. Maybe Kyle knows.
Monster Hunter,
it's that.
Which is not a game that I play, but it's one that I know. And Monster Hunter World was their most recent one, and that was a very, very popular one. So.
See, this is why, like, you and I have got these, like, complimentary nerddoms, because, like, when they go to the theme park, I'm like, this isn't just a theme park. This is Tokyo Disney Sea. This is Tokyo Disneyland. I totally
wouldn't have known that.
This is mine. I love Disney parks, so that episode delighted me because they're not just going to.
I wonder if Belinda would have caught that because she's also a big Disney fan.
I think so. Because like, okay, the ride they are going to, the actual like ghosts and pumpkins all jump out and stuff. That's not really what the Haunted Mansion is like, but this is supposed to be their equivalent of the Haunted Mansion, and the vehicles they get in, those ride vehicles are exactly the Haunted Mansion Doom buggies, which is so like that's something I can pick up on. Like that's my nerddom right there. I'm like, oh, they've got the Doom buggies, they've got like all the different flavored churros. There's the rock features in the lakes of Tokyo Disney Sea. And, like, that's something, like, my boyfriend would have to get into with me. Like, okay, I'm planning the big vacation this year. It's Disney World. Like,
we went to Disney World last year, but that was the one in Paris. Come on.
I'm not going to Disney World Paris. Oh, I still would, but not before I've thoroughly covered all the other parks. See? See? There's a ranking
because we went to all those the years before.
Tokyo Disney Sea is at the top. Disneyland Paris is at the bottom.
There you go. Now you know, folks. Priorities. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to talk about the, I guess, other couple.
Yes.
That was with them because I really liked them too. I think they were my favorite characters.
Yeah, this is Koyanagi and Kabakura.
Yes. Because again, I am terrible with names, so I was just going to be like, the other people.
Yeah, I think this is something that has happened to me as I've gotten older, and like this is a fact, like kids pick up languages easier Like, that's why they tell you, okay, when your kid's in kindergarten, like, start them on Spanish lessons.
Well,
I feel like when I was...
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like when I was, like, 12, 13 years old, I could remember all these Japanese names, and now it is, like, an effort. Like, I have to write it down or else I completely forget what it is.
It's not just Japanese names for me though. It's everyone's name. Like I don't
names.
I don't know anyone in my office. I mean, like, I know them, I've met them, and I know the names of the ones that I actually work with. But there's people around me who I see and I say hi to, and I have no idea what the fuck their names are. And I know they've told me. And I know if I really wanted to, I could go look at their like name tag on their cubicle, but I can't be bothered. and they'll introduce themselves. They'll be like, "Hi, I'm Tom." I'm like, "Oh, hi, hey Tom, nice to meet you." And I sit down like 2 seconds after, and I'm like, I have no idea what they just told me.
Tyler? I'm glad to meet my new friend Tyler.
Did it start with a K? I'm just awful with names. So I liked the other couple.
Yes, the green one and the orange one.
Yeah, the green and the orange one. It's like Power Rangers. No, but like I liked how they weren't necessarily as concerned about hiding what they do.
Yeah.
But just no one really knew what they did. It was just like your work life is separated from your personal life, which is like there's the scene I think in episode 1 when the main character like sees the photo of the cosplayer on and they're like, "Oh my god, I love that cosplayer." She goes, "Oh my god, you liked my photo?" She's like,
"That's
get the
you?
fuck out of here." Like, what the that was you?
I loved that. See, I was looking for something that was more office based. Like, that was my theme last week, like work life stuff. And I actually, like, I didn't miss it. Like, they're barely at the office. Like, I have no idea what any of these people actually even do. And it doesn't matter, and you don't miss it. But I did like that element of, is anybody else here a nerd? How am I gonna find out? And, like, you're just looking for clues. Because, like, I've been there. I've done that. Like, just sitting around, like, you look like you play video games, but, like, how can I tell?
And I mean, I guess from what I've been told in anime and manga and stuff, right? Like, Japanese culture is very much like, hey, if you work for a company, like, your life is this company. Like, you do all the work and then you go home and maybe you'll have some time to yourself. At the same time, like I mentioned before, kind of everyone watches anime, everyone reads manga, like that's what they do there. Cosplay just seems normal.
Yeah.
There. So like it was kind of one of those things, like I didn't feel like she was hiding the fact that she did that, but it was so separated from like, hey, this is what I enjoy when I'm not here at the thing, you know?
Like the main character, again, I have to, like, consult the notes. Narumi, she, like, has this thing that she's trying to hide. Like, she wants to just burst with all of this information and all of this excitement, and she has to keep it bottled in. And the other 3 main cast members are like, yeah, we like that thing, we love that thing, we just don't feel that same drive to constantly talk about it. Like, we're not, like, you know, a cap on a stopper. Like, we're not, like, foaming over, like boiling over, just like with excitement to talk about the thing. And it's about her, like, I guess just trying to like even out almost, and then like find the moments where like her and her boss do get to just freak out about the same thing, which were some of my favorite moments in the show, where it's the two of them just nerding out about stuff. Like, I think the funniest sequence in the series is that episode where the guys go out to dinner with like 2 other bland, pretty much faceless guys at the office, and they're talking about like, which girls at the office do you think are cute? And then the two girls go out to dinner, and they're talking about, like, all their Slash fan fiction.
whose boyfriend would be the top and whose would be the bottom.
And it's this, like, long, aggressive, screaming fight in the middle of what looks like a normal restaurant. They're in, like, a Denny's or something, yelling about whose boyfriend is handsome enough to be on top.
Did you notice that people were looking at them and stuff?
Yeah!
So they were obviously having that conversation, speaking really loudly.
Yeah!
Not just be like, well, I mean, I guess you could, in just that real hushed, quiet voice. It was like, no, my boyfriend would be the top. Yours would be the fucking bottom. Get used to it, okay?
And then, like, Hirotaka's little brother, like, this innocent, like, 19, 20-year-old, like, college kid. It's, like, big, wide eyes. This is a sweet little boy. You find out later, like, he was there and he overheard them, and he just hears her saying, like, my boyfriend is the top. And I think he just thinks, like, oh, you think he's the best. You like him a lot. Like, he misses the context entirely.
Yeah, because he's like not a nerd, but at the same time, he's also the character that is that, like, that the fans harvest. He's the innocent one, and look, here's someone else who's almost similar to him. What if they have some romantic thing happening? And it's the young boys love thing. But then there's the thing of, like, is the person he's flirting with a boy or a girl? We don't really know.
She's a girl, but she's just, like, got, like, real short hair, and she wears, like, these big baggy, like, kind of masculine shirts and sweaters. So, like, I think the other people, like, the other kids at their school know she's a girl, but I don't think now. I don't think he does. If he knows. Yeah. And it doesn't seem to matter to him. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
While we're talking about the restaurant scene, I think that has, like, my favorite bit in the series, which is when Narumi has told Koyanagi about this anime or this manga she wants her to watch or read. And Koyanagi's like, oh yeah, I read through the whole thing. She's like, I really loved, like, the hero and the rival relationship, and here Narumi's like, you like the opposite pairing of me. And it's just like, they have this, like, face-off where they're like, will we ever talk together as friends? Not in this lifetime.
It's like, how can you betray me like this?
There's so much of this show felt like I said, I related to it. Like, oh, that's a feeling you have. Like, oh, you like that couple? I like the other couple on the show. I've got the different ship. And, like, these are real and, like, consistent emotions throughout a nerd's life, and I don't really see these represented anywhere, you know?
Yeah. That part was really funny. What else did I mentioned the part where she walks and on him passed out. Yeah. That one was really funny. There was another one, though. I'm trying to think of it. I had it just a minute ago, and then my mind went blank. It is when they are... God damn it. What am I thinking of, Melissa?
Like another cute nerd moment? Is that it?
Kind of. I mean, that's the whole show, but it was another funny moment. God damn it, what was it? It was when it's like that Saturday morning when the green-haired girl and her boyfriend are both raiding, and she finally gets him to read the erotic manga, and he's like, this is gonna be terrible. It's gonna be the worst. I am not interested in this in the slightest. And then afterwards, he's like, oh my god, it was so good.
Or like earlier in the series when Hirotaka's making fun of Narumi for like watching Sailor Moon on her phone during like breaks at work and like crying in the middle of the office, and then she like hands him the other earbud, and later it cuts back and he's crying too.
Yeah. Which, this might be blasphemy, but have you seen the old Sailor Moon cartoons recently.
Oh no, I've been wanting to like check them out and like see a couple
bad. They're kind of really bad. They don't hold up.
Well, were you watching the dubs or the subs?
I've seen both of them, but it's just so old. It's just so old.
I think I want to watch a couple of the old Sailor Moons for like nostalgic reasons, and like I've never like I know how the original Japanese storyline is, but I haven't actually watched it firsthand, and like I want to check it out. Like I want to actually see Neptune and Uranus be girlfriends instead of cousins.
Cause I went back and I watched a whole bunch of shows on Toonami, and I ended up making a Toonami beat tape. I used to make some music, and so I was looking for samples and stuff, and I went back and I watched everything from Dragon Ball Z to Gundam to Tenchi Muyo to like all of that stuff.
Tenchi.
And I started watching Sailor Moon, and there's like those like 3 seasons, and I watched that first one, and I was just like, I can't go on. I can't continue with this.
Did you even get to where all the Sailor Scouts were collected? Because I remember it took
think so.
Forever. Like, the pacing was so weird. Like, okay, here's Sailor Moon and a couple of her normal, non-superpowered school friends. And we're gonna add on, like, here's Mercury. Okay,
it was
now
whatever that
Mars.
first show is, that first season.
It took them too long to get the team together. Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that like... its story had an arc and it wrapped up, but it was one of those things. It's like, oh my god, the voice acting in this is really bad.
Yes,
the
that's true.
Subs in this, like, the subs are better. I understand the story more, but it's still just like, oh my god, this is not what I remembered it to be. I'm just gonna sit here with my memory of that instead. Because I don't want to ruin it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I want to
that was
talk
good.
briefly about the actual romance, because I think we've talked enough about like the nerdy stuff.
Yes.
And I think this was a really effective romance because it is like it's exactly what I would want to hear. Like when he says, I will wait for you after you work really long hours. I'm like, oh, that's me.
He's so matter-of-fact about it, though. He's just like, I'll wait for you after long hours if you are slow and you're not done yet.
But, like, it's even if he is staying it with that, like, real flat affect, like, it's still the words you want to hear, and he's just so, like, supportive. Like, yeah, if you want to go get an autograph from one of your favorite comic artists, I will sit there and watch your art booth at this Comic-Con we're going to, and like I will, I'll watch your favorite voice actor.
He just reminded me of that scene when he's working the booth and there's the guy that comes up that thinks he's the actual author, so he's like creepily touching him and stuff like that.
I think Hirotaka was so sweet, and like even if he isn't like real high on charm or anything like that, like I get it. I get why he's is like a
earnest.
Yes, and he fills what you need that boyfriend to fill. Like he's like, I am here to support you. When you want me there, I will be there. I will do that thing you like with you. Like he says, I like seeing you do the things you love. Which is so simple, but that means so much. To just have somebody who's like, even if it's not my thing, I will try to engage with it, and if I can't engage with it, I'm engaged with your relationship with it. Like, that's such a good, important building block, and it just hits me like, oh, that's what I want.
Exactly. Okay, so story time with Kyle.
Yes.
This was a while ago. I matched with this girl on Tinder, or on Cupid or something, and she was really into horror stuff, which is not my favorite type of thing, and we had talked about that. Like, it's not my cup of tea. I like it. I get scared out of my mind, and I just don't find that fun, but she was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I can be with someone who doesn't like horror." And I was like, "Oh, it's not like I'm not ever gonna watch it. Like, I would totally watch it with you and like go to these horror conventions that you've mentioned and stuff like that. Like, that would be totally fun, you know?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's not gonna work. I just, if you're not gonna be into it, then." I'm like, "But I just told you I was gonna be." I was like, "What? I just told you I would support you in this. So you don't want someone who support?" I was so confused. I was like, "What? How? Okay, have fun."
Yeah, like I don't know if I could date somebody who's like, "Oh, I don't get what a podcast is." Like,
I mean,
unless...
it's like it's one thing to be like, "I hate it. I'm not gonna engage with this at all," because no one wants that, you know. It's like, well, if you don't even have the slightest bit of interest in the stuff that I like, then are you really interested in me? But at the same time, I know you don't have to like it. Just because I play video games doesn't mean that my partner necessarily needs to play video games. She just needs to respect that I like this and know that I enjoy it. And if I'm excited about it, be supportive in some way, you know?
Yeah, that's really all that's important. Like, you don't have to...
At least learn why I like it so that you understand. And then that's fine. You can go off and do whatever you want and make fun of me for not sleeping and not eating until I beat this next video game. You know?
Yeah, like, you know, like, you don't have to read the same books I like, but you at least don't tell me, "Hey, shut up about the wizards already."
Hey, fucking dork, get over here.
No, I like the romance. And one of my another thing I really loved was this little, like, joke, this sweet little joke that does not get commented on. And it's when, I think it's like the first time she goes over to his apartment. And she thinks they're gonna get, like, action-packed. And she thinks he's, like, leaning over to... Yeah, she thinks he's gonna lean over and, like, kiss her. And she's freaking out. She's like,
"Just wait till they're pink."
Yeah, she's like, "What color are my underwear? Like, am I wearing cute enough underwear?" And she remembers they're beige ones today. And she thinks he's gonna kiss her. And she says, "Let's wait till it's pink. Like, let's wait until I have cute underwear on." And he's like, just reaching past her to, like, pick up some game controllers. And he's like,
yeah.
He's like, "I just have the white ones. I don't know if they come in pink." And later, episodes later, they are playing games over at his apartment, and he has gotten a pink Wiimote, and it's not said a word about it. But that thing, it's so funny.
Amazing.
And it's so sweet. Like, that is the kind of boyfriend he is, and that is the kind of boyfriend you would want.
Well, that scene is fantastic because she's thinking about her underwear before she goes there too.
Yeah,
like it comes up, she goes,
like, all day.
And she's like, "I don't even remember like what underwear I'm wearing," but she also doesn't think to check and just like look down and be like, "Nope, okay," you know. But she can't remember, and then it's in the moment when she thinks she's about to get kissed. She goes, "Oh God, they're beige. Wait till they're pink. Good God, wait till they're pink."
And, like, I feel this. Like, I feel that for reals. Like, I want to always be wearing my cutest underwear when I'm gonna go see a boy. It's real.
Yeah.
Another thing that is real. Kyle, surprise. I want to talk about boobs again.
Go for it. Boobs are fantastic.
Yes.
That was like the first big joke of the show. So she gets to her office and she meets what's her name with the green hair, and she goes, "Oh my God, her boobs are huge."
Yes. But I like that her boobs are huge for, like, plot and character reasons, because she cosplays male characters, so it's just sort of showing you, like, oh, you really have to buy, like, special clothing and, like, really work at it and, like, be uncomfortable all day. Like, you go through all of that because you love cosplaying those characters so much. Like, it's a real testament to her and, like, how much she's into this stuff. And then Narumi being so embarrassed about, like, her flat chest, and, like, she goes into Hirotaka's room, and he's got, like, a couple anime figurines, and, like, when she thinks they're gonna, like, get romantic, she turns all of them to face the wall so that he can't see their big boobs compared to hers.
Amazing.
And, like, it's like, there's so many jokes out there about, like, penis envy, but there's not a lot about the other side of it, which is just cleavage envy, which is real.
It's in a lot of anime too. It like that's I guess like a stereotypical joke.
I guess so.
Or not not necessarily a joke, but yeah, there's usually some kind of character with really big tits, and that just they get commented on or ogled at. Speaking of my time when I went back to watch all of those Toonami cartoons, I watched Zoids.
Zoids?
Yes. Zoids was a fantastic show. I don't remember if it was in season 1 or season 2 or something, but there's a scene when two of the characters are interacting. One is an older man, and one is a young, beautiful woman. And she doesn't have necessarily like big boobs or anything, but she's fairly busty. And I think there's a scene when she has to like lift up the old man to like get him out of this machine and set him down, and she sets him down like right in front of her, so his face is like right there, like right in her chest, and I'm sure they edited that scene when it was on Toonami, because I had to pause it and rewind because I saw something and I was like, "Oh my god, that was that was almost subliminal. Like I need to go back and make sure that was actually in there." So I did. I rewinded it and went like frame by frame. There's a like a split second when his eyes turn to hearts, and it's just super fast. And I was just like, whoa, wait, what? Did I see that right? And I was like, oh my god. This is a kid's show, you guys.
Oh, I didn't know all of this was in Zoids.
It's in Zoids of all the shows. For young boys.
I like that Koyanagi's, like, I feel like a big boobed character may usually go one of two ways. Like, the real sex pot, or like, oh, I have big boobs, I'm innocent and I didn't notice, and she's just like normal. She's like, yeah,
did I knock something down?
Whoops. But she's just like, I have them. Like, she doesn't care about them. Like, she doesn't like play them up, play them down. They're just normal for her. And like the guys at the office, like those two like faceless guys, like the guys go out to beer with, like they kind of joke about him, but for the most part, like I feel like this was boob stuff from Narumi's perspective. Like, oh, look at her with her chest, just like, oh, I bet it gets all like bouncy and jiggly and great, and mine doesn't. And I feel like this was like this female, like this other female point of view on the boobs. Do you kind of get what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the thing that the like anime titties is like a stereotype because guys like that.
Yeah.
And so like here she is with this really small chest, and she's just like, guys would like me more if I had bigger boobs. It sucks that I don't. Yeah,
and which is a very real feeling I feel like I haven't seen in a lot of stuff. Like, I wish I could do that, and like it resonates with me in like things in my life. Like, I went to a wedding a couple weeks ago, and I get all dressed up, and I'm like, I look cute. And I get to the wedding, and I see the other women there, and I'm like, oh no, they look elegant, and I look cute.
Like, shit, I'm underdressed.
And like, I went to that production of Macbeth last night, and like, they have the hottest Lady Macbeth, and I'm just like, I want to do what she does. I want to be that.
Yeah.
And I like that. I just haven't seen a lot of instances of a woman looking at another woman like, how do I all of that? How do I be that? How do I do that? Why can't I do that? How do I get there?
I mean, again, I'm not a woman, so I can't really relate, but I also feel like that's kind of ingrained in our culture too, of just like, hey, here's the magazine hot knit, like here is what like is conventionally beautiful, here's what you should aspire to be like, and that's not necessarily the most realistic thing, and it's the same thing with this anime too. Sure, it might happen from time to time. You might meet someone who's really skinny and has just gigantic boobs, but like most of the time though, that's not really realistic. Like that's not, it's not necessarily healthy, or it's not necessarily this or that, or it's fake, or it's photoshopped. You know, and it's not necessarily something to aspire towards. Like it's the same thing with guys too. Like when you look at like male models, they're all these like huge hunky beefy dudes. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff, but to me it just looks like you can barely even move. Like I don't understand. Yep. I can touch my elbows. Can you? You know?
That's what girls really want in a guy: elbow touching.
Yeah, it's like a thigh gap, you know.
No, that's good, and I like that. And Narumi doesn't overdo it. It's not like she's like super jealous or like super focused on it and like, what can I wear to like emphasize my chest? Can I get like some cool like push-up padded bra? Like she doesn't take it that far. It's just this quiet like, oh, her boobs are great. I kind of wish mine were like that. Just that sort of wistfulness.
Yeah. Which I kind of hope if they do a season 2, it looks like they will.
Yeah.
That I kind of want that to be addressed a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because body issues and body dysmorphia is something that a lot of people deal with. Doesn't matter if you're an otaku or not.
Yeah.
You know, like and so I think for her to come to terms with her being an otaku is one thing, but then for her to come to terms more with herself and like, okay, this is my body, this is what I look like, this is how I act, this is how I think, you know. I think seeing more of that stuff develop in season 2 would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think especially, like, working with the otaku perspective, like, maybe her and Koyanagi want to go cosplay something together, and Koyanagi will say, like, oh, you're so lucky your chest is so flat, and you're, like, you can play a male character easier.
Yeah, like, you don't have to tape these down, you don't have to wrap, find some good binder, you know, that works. So kind of changing subjects, we briefly got on it when you were like, let's talk actually about the more romance stuff.
Yes.
I kind of want to talk about the more serious stuff in here, the more emotional moments. Because we did mention this does focus a lot on the comedy. But I think there's a number of good moments within the show that I think really shine through.
Yeah.
Of just like, hey, these characters actually have a little bit of weight to them.
Yeah.
For me, I wish there was more of that.
Yeah, because when they
it is
do it,
more
it is
character focused. I'm like, okay, tell me more about that. Like, if I can get involved with them and with their lives, I will absolutely care about them so much more, you know?
Yeah, and I think when they do it, it is really well done. And this is fluffy stuff, but it's high quality fluff. It's like, this is the best, the freshest whipped cream with like the lightest hint of vanilla. Like, it's the best that it can be, but you are looking at it like, is there any cake under this whipped cream? Like, is there more there? And when you started talking about the serious stuff, like the first thing that came to my mind is like the end of the theme park date where Hirotaka is looking at Narumi and he's like, "Oh, she went out there and like she's dated people, like she's like loved and lived and been through heartbreaks and like grown into somebody, and I've never really dated. I've never really tried, so like I've barely grown compared to her." And there's this shot of like he's looking at her like she's the woman and he's a little boy.
Well, he had this line earlier on in the show where he's like, I basically just want to be a child my entire life. And not in the sense of like, oh, I need my mom or I want someone to just like take care of me. But he sees video games and comics and stuff like that as this very childish thing. And I've had those exact same thoughts too. It's just like, look, I know that I really like comics. I'm like a mega nerd. I spend most of my life reading and playing video games and stuff like that. I understand that someone can look at me and be like, you're just a fucking 13-year-old. Like,
yep.
And that will happen, I'm sure. But at the same time, like I mentioned at the start, I'm fairly confident in that. So it's just like, well, sweet, you're not the one that, like, move along, have fun, and so for him to have that moment of realization where like, hey, it's okay to mature in other aspects of your life and still like the things that you like, still be into Sailor Moon and cry when you watch it, like you can absolutely like that stuff and still be an adult. You're not a child just for liking that stuff.
Like, he doesn't think I'm a kid because I play video games all the time. He's like, I play video games all the time and I don't give myself time to do other things that would help me become like a more well-rounded like human being like Narumi is. Like, she's so deep into it. And like I talked earlier about how she's just like bursting at the seams to talk about the stuff. She's so excited, but she's given herself time to do other stuff. Like that's her main focus, but she's lived so much beyond that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's all like done with the earrings too, because he pierced his ears when he was younger, wanting to be cool, and then he's just like, out, like that hurt, like I can't take it out because it's stuck. It has to be in there for 6 months. Like, ah, shit, this is a commitment. Like, maybe I should just not worry about this stuff and not like try and be cool and stuff like. And like he's so much into like the things that he likes that he really hasn't thought about if what he does is cool or not. Like, he's just off in his own little world. But then there's that scene where like you see like the kid version of him getting taller, and like him as we see him now getting smaller, and that's him growing up like in that moment where he's like, oh, you bought me earrings. And then he's like, wait, when did you get your ears pierced? And she's like, shut up, don't look at me, don't look at me.
I did love that stuff with the earrings, because he got his ears pierced because, like, when he was, like, teens or something, he saw Narumi dating a guy who had his ears pierced.
Yeah.
And, like, he kind of wants to be more like that, to, like, get Narumi. And I liked how he's kind of always had a crush on Narumi, and it's never, like, full-blown, like, pining. It's just always been this, like...
It's one of those in the background.
Yeah. This quiet little thing inside of him he's had for years, and it's just never been big enough for him to make a big deal out of. Like, when he asks her, why don't you just date me? Why don't you just date me? It's not like he's like, his heart is pounding, like, finally, this is my opportunity. He's just like...
He almost doesn't think about it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it makes sense for us to be together. Like, that kind of slow, quiet, like... If I ever went for it, I feel like we could be a match.
Yeah, or at least we wouldn't have to like hide who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that aspect of it a lot. That he's kind of always loved her, but it's like on just this exactly the level for his character. This is not a man who pines. This is not a man of passion. Just slow, quiet, deliberate decisions. That's who he is.
Yeah.
So I like that instead of going with this full-blown romantic trope of I've loved you all these years, it's like exactly fitting. It's like tampered down and like leveled way down for his character. Like it felt really appropriate and like it definitely added something without overdoing it.
Yeah. Another one of the moments that I liked is when they are at the restaurant and they get in a fight. The other couple gets in a fight because she's a little bit drunk. She's hitting on everyone, and like they get in this fight, but like they're the type of couple that like that's kind of how they communicate in their own way. Like they fight about everything. They argue, but they know it's because they care about each other. Like he's not actually upset at her that like legitimately upset, but it's more of just like he's kind of jealous. Like he really likes her, and he doesn't like it when she might have a little bit too much to drink and starts getting a little lovey-dovey with whoever is right next to her, which is a legitimate concern, sure, but it's also like, hey, we're all friends here. Like, there's no need to worry. Like, nothing's actually gonna happen. You might ship it, but but like he has this legitimate like, hey, I actually really care about you, like, and that, like, I don't want you to leave me. Like, I don't want you to be with someone else, and that thought like scares me, and there's that moment when they kind of finally deal with it, and of course they deal with it in their own way, and he's like, oh, come here, you ugly hag, and she is crying on his shoulder, and that was also one of the more poignant moments, I thought, because we get to see that, and then down the road again, more towards the end, when he makes the comment to, again, I don't remember his name, but the main guy, he's like,
Hirotaka.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, well, I mean, you guys are the same way, right? And he's like, no, we're not. Like, we don't. That's not how we communicate. Like, we're different from you guys. And I think that was also one of the moments where he first started to realize, like, hey, I'm missing something here. Like, I don't understand what's happening. We're not like that. Why? Why aren't we like that? Should we be like that? Is that what it means to be in a relationship? Like, so.
Yeah, and that's when they go to the theme park, because they're like, we should have a normal person date, and not like we're going to the comic shop together.
And he it was when they're walking home and she's running through the scenario in her mind, like, hey, do you want to go on a date this weekend? He's like, no. Or just like, how about my house, let's play video games. And then it's him, he's the one that asks, like, hey, what did you do for dates when you were dating non-otakus? She's like, well, I guess we did normal things like go out to eat, go to a theme park, go to the movies, stuff like that, have a picnic. And he goes, okay, then let's go. Just, that was it. And she goes, wait, what? That doesn't even make sense to her that he would be the one to ask her out on like an actual date thing. Which I thought that was also a nice moment too, because it's on his mind. He's thinking about it. It's like, huh, maybe I should do something.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that makes him like a really good boyfriend. Like, they're into so much of the same stuff, and he's so like understanding and patient and supportive about like all the nerdy stuff she's into, but he wants to take this opportunity, like, let's do something that isn't reliant on both of us being nerds and being up for listening to what the other person is nerding out about. Like, if we can take every hobby out of the picture, can we still just relate to each other as human beings? And so I like the theme park day a lot.
Yeah, that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, when they're just like, all right, fine, we're done with this, and she's like, yes! Oh my god, did you see the anime last night?
Oh, it was such a fun episode.
Yeah, it was good. Good stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff.
I really loved this show.
Yeah, it's still fairly new. I know there's a manga of this as well. There's I think they recently announced a live action cast for like a live action adaptation. I don't know if it's going to be a movie or a TV series. I'm not sure.
That sounds
but
fun.
I saw that on their Wikipedia page. So that could be interesting.
Good
stuff. Good stuff. Any last thoughts?
Oh, just that I really liked it, and I'm really glad I took a chance and just, like, I'm gonna Google my way to a brand new anime I've never heard about before, and, like, I ended up really liking it. Yep, yes?
I was just gonna say, I thought of another book that I could recommend. Nana. Have you heard of that one?
The name sounds familiar, like, you probably told me about it.
Long time ago. Before the review show, my friend Paul and I did an episode on that. But it is long story short. It's about two girls, both named Nana, who end up meeting on the train. They're both moving to Tokyo, and they both need a place to live, so they decide to live together. But one of them is like the most girly girl you can think of. Like, everything is pink and fluffy and unicorns and rainbows, and it's great. And then the other one is completely opposite of that, just punk rock to the extreme, wears all black, like spikes up her hair. She smokes, she's the lead singer in this punk band, but they end up becoming best friends despite their differences. And I haven't read all of it that's out. Apparently the manga is not finished. I think the creator, I know she at least got really sick. I don't want to say she's dead or not. I don't know. I'm not familiar with all of that stuff. She could still be alive, but I think she's moved on to opposite stuff moved on to more stuff if she is still alive. But it's that same type of thing, like, hey, despite our differences, we can still be friends and stuff. And I think I read the first like 2 or 3 volumes, and it almost seemed like there was some lesbian subtext in there, like, hey, maybe down the road they're actually going to be more than friends, and it's just going to be like, hey, what if we're in a relationship instead? So who knows? But that was also a very good one, and I liked that one a lot.
Awesome.
So yeah, that would be my final things to say on that.
Okay.
Pitches for this next week. I guess it's my turn.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, I have 2 of them written down here, and I have a third one up in my mind. Pitch number 1, Maniac. It's a Netflix original starring Emma Stone and Jonah Hill. Directed by Cary Fukunaga, who notably directed the first season of True Detective. This is, it seems like, an experimental sci-fi hallucinating thriller mindfuck type of thing. I think from what I understood, the little Netflix description thing to be, Emma Stone and Jonah Hill's characters are both not completely there, maybe? I don't know. And so they go on this experimental drug to kind of fix them, and there's supposedly no side effects. They'll just be fixed, and that's that. They can move on with
Ooh.
their life. But of course, things don't go as planned.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Maniac.
Is that like a movie or a short show?
It's a series.
Okay.
There's one season. I don't know how many episodes there are. I'm assuming 12 or 13.
Okay.
But I don't know. That's pitch number 1, though.
Uh-huh.
Pitch number 2 is called The Forest.
Mm.
I believe this is also a Netflix original. I could be mistaken, though. It is a French crime show.
Ah.
It's about a girl who disappears into the forest after receiving a cryptic phone call, and now the small town that she is from is investigating and doing everything they can to find her, and kind of unraveling as the mystery, as the plot thickens.
Yeah.
So dark secrets are coming out, and this and that, and stuff like that.
Ooh.
So it looks like crime thriller, maybe a little bit of horror mixed in, or like psychological thriller type of thing. Who knows? But yeah, that's a French crime show, so it is all in French.
Okay.
Interesting. And then for my third pitch, I'm actually going to pull it up on this. Where did it go? I wanted to read. It's a comic book.
Uh-huh.
Called Criminal.
Okay.
And volume 1 is on Comixology Unlimited. This is a crime series. If I'm not mistaken, each volume is a new story, new characters, stuff like that. So we're only gonna read. Well, you know what? Let's read the first 2.
Okay.
The first one is on Comixology Unlimited. The second one, you can buy it, or I'm sure you can find it at a local comic book store, or Barnes & Noble, or something like that. But it is, like I said, I believe it's an anthology series with each volume being like a new story, new characters, and stuff like that. It's by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Yeah.
And if you are familiar in the kind of comic book world crime genre, these guys are all-stars in that genre. They've done things like Gotham Central and Fatal and stuff like that. They've made some fantastic crime comics, and the artwork is amazing. Let's see if I pull this up. Will it give me a, best-selling crime series returns in strikingly designed new editions? That's not what I want to read. Volume 1, Coward, a new take on noir that turned the heist story on its head and created a whole new underworld for Brubaker and Phillips to explore. Brubaker and Phillips' recent series Fatale and The Fade Out have brought their work to a wider audience of new readers, and now is the perfect time to show them the work that made the award-winning teams show. What? That makes no sense. Why would you put them there? Anyways, yeah, this is like Crime Comics All-Star Volume 1 and 2. Sounds like Volume 1 is a heist story.
Ooh.
Let's see what it says about Volume 2. A story of brotherly love and hate as Tracy Lawless finally returns home to find out who murdered his kid brother and how much their family history has doomed them both. Cool. So that's pitch number 3. Criminal, Volumes 1 and 2.
I think I am really intrigued by The Forest.
Le Forest. Cool.
I'll have to see if that's actually what it is or not. I took like 4 years of French in high school and college.
I don't speak any French.
Barely remember any of it. Yeah. So
Omelette
it seems
du
like a good
fromage
thing
from Dexter's Lab.
Yeah, omelette du fromage. All I remember is that in France, their like colloquial nickname for a McDonald's is McDo. McDo, which is really
go to a
cute. McDo. So yeah, I feel like getting back into like, oh, let's watch a French thing again, because French stuff can be bonkers based on everything like my old teachers would show me. So, and I've been feeling like a mystery and like something spooky.
I almost pitched another French crime show, one that I've seen. I've not seen The Forest. It's also on Netflix, called Deep. It's only 3 episodes long, but it is in black and white. It's crime noir, and it is bonkers. It's this detective who's kind of hallucinating, and maybe he's crazy, and it's just like nonstop. Yeah, it's super fast paced. It's fantastic though.
Cool.
But The Forest, I have not seen. I'm excited to see that, and it is in full color now, in Technicolor. No.
Oh boy.
It seems pretty new. I think it was like 2017 when it came out, so not too long ago. Should be good, and I think that's only like 8 episodes. If I'm not mistaken.
I just looked it up, and it's 6 episodes.
6, even shorter than I thought. So you guys can find that on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, I'm here in America, and it's here in the American Netflix, so I'm sure it has a fairly wide release for everyone out there. I'm excited.
Yes.
I was in the mood. I was like, I'm going to go in my comfort zone this week, and I'm going to do like crime and sci-fi
you do
type
love
of stuff.
Foreign crimes.
I almost pitched all foreign crime shows. I was like, remember that show Bad Guys Vile City that I really liked and I still really love? I almost pitched that one.
Kyle, while we're on the subject of this, somebody submitted a paper about Dark to one of the TV and film journals I work on at work. Yes. I somehow completely missed that it was about time travel. Like, I don't know, like, why I did not pick up on that very key fact about the show, but I'm reading the paper and I'm like, oh, I thought this was, like, just a straightforward crime drama. I know there was time travel.
It's time travel. It's a little bit like Stranger Things.
Okay.
They don't necessarily focus on, like, a group of kids or stuff like that, though, but it is, like, time travel-y. There's a bunch of scenes in the 80s and what happened. There's this weird experiment thing going on. Yeah, it's really good. That's actually one of our most watched YouTube videos.
Oh.
I mean, it still gets absolutely no views overall, but it has a couple hundred views on that episode. That was me and Paul did an episode of that on the Whatnauts podcast back when that was a thing. Which reminds me, I guess I'll start it up in the new year. I'm gonna start re-releasing the old episodes of the Whatnauts podcast on our website since I took those off of iTunes. So cool, good stuff.
Yep.
That was good. That was fun. Melissa, take it away.
This has been the Whatnauts Review Show for this week. Thank you for joining us. If you were in the live stream or if you're listening to us later on YouTube or on as a podcast, it's just thanks for being out there and listening to us and supporting us and giving us follows and maybe considering giving us $1. You can find
Patreon.com/thewhatnauts.
Yep. Give us $1. You can get stuff early. You can follow me personally on Twitter and Instagram at WilkyWit, WilkyWit, and Kyle, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at YoKyleSpringer. And if you guys want updates for this show, this podcast, as well as any of the other podcasts we do, you can follow us on Twitter at The Whatnauts.
Yes. Yep, follow us. It's cool.
There you go. Exactly.
Official recommendation.
We will see you guys next week. Adios, guys.
Bye.